Hello and welcome to a new video. Today we're gonna take a look at another legend team from this season 15 of Go Battle League, which is going to be a team around Clefable. Clefable is now a Pokemon that I actually built again. I had one built already before, but now I built the rank 2 version of this Pokemon. Just because I want to try out this team that I saw on Twitter, where someone that I also showcased several times, like their teams on my channel, hit a legend with. And so yeah, this was a Japanese player, never really able to say the name, it's just basically D as a name there, so I don't know. But here we're going to now get at least the team with the Snorlax Shadow variant in the lead. There is no real say-swap, to be fair, in my opinion here. It's more like, it's a little bit different. We're going to talk a little bit about this as well. Pretty sure they're running the normal variant of Swampert, by the way, but I don't have one built that has decent IVs. So here we're going to have now the Shadow variant, which is still going to function pretty well, as you can go ahead and go for an Earthquake here right now. And say nearly goodbye to the opponent's War Rain. And we can still go for another charge move here, which is going to force the opponent to shield one move up. We should be able to farm them all the way down here, hopefully in time. I think we actually still survive one Icicle Spear from this range. But we don't have to anyway, as now the opponent's Galarian Stunfisk has nowhere to go. But yeah, this team is played out a little bit differently. For example, here we have a pretty horrific lead. What we would do here is most likely to stay in for a little bit, wait until the opponent throws. Now they have a ton of energy, but they swap out. Here we can now align at least our Pokemon, but that's basically how you kind of want to play this team. You kind of want to try to get out a potential... I would just in general, you kind of want to try to get the lead there. The lead is the most important matchup for this team. Most teams that I'm playing usually is the secondary matchup is the most important matchup. For example, when you swap out, they try to realign there, try to get a switch advantage, try to get energy advantage when you swapped out first. But here you kind of don't even want to swap out. Snorlax is fairly neutral against nearly anything in the meta right now, and you kind of want to try to get this matchup later on and align. Yeah, you can use all your shields on the Snorlax in my opinion, but you try to align your Pokemon later on so you can hard counter it with the back, because if you look at the backline, we're going to have Clefable, which is going to be fairly decent against most Pokemon that are just like neutral against it, but of course also like fighting type Pokemon or like dragon type Pokemon, and then you're going to have the Swampert, which is going to be able to beat those poison type Pokemon here, as well as steel type Pokemon that you don't want to face with Clefable. So the core between Clefable and Swampert is a very decent core. By the way, look at this. Boom, they have actually a Hyper Beam here. I thought of shielding this and I didn't shield it because I was like, yeah, there's no way that they're going to run the spicy moveset. But shoutouts to my opponent there, great play there. Of course, you're going to be on the video as well with that. I am not shy for showing some losses there, a little bit weird. But yeah, this team definitely doesn't really have a good say-swap here in general, but tries to play it out that the Snorlax plays out the lead, tries to align your Pokemon later on there and try to hard counter them with a backline, which actually worked out pretty well for me as well. This team definitely works out pretty well. But here, for example, in this game already you see one issue with it. Pidgeot is really difficult to deal with this team. I had some struggles against Pidgeot during those games for sure, but here now we're at least going to be able to get out the Jellicent, where we can go for one Hydro Cannon still. Get them a little bit lower. I tried to swap out here, didn't work out. They're gonna go for the Shadow Ball here, don't want to go 2 shields down. But at least I'm going to be able to now get a ton of energy. We have a ton of lag here. There are going to be some games that I'm completely losing just because of lag again. The game state right now is not really ideal, but we still were able to win a lot of games with this team as well, and actually went positive with this team as well here, which is really nice. But you're going to see even more lag most likely coming up here. Here we're going to have a 50-50 chance if we're going to have the Brave Bird or not. Here I could have played better, like in so many different ways. Here we have a CMP type that I'm going to lose, which of course is already not really ideal here. But also, of course, I could have shielded up the Brave Bird, and maybe we still had a chance then. But we will find out shortly, because I'm going to try to shield up the Surf here and try to farm them all the way down and see what they have in the back. Turns out they're going to have a Swampert in the back, and even if we shield the Brave Bird, I don't think there was a way for us to win this game. So, yeah, this is going to be it for this one here, as the Swampert going to be able to finish this game here, sadly, because the Hydro Cannon gonna do enough damage against our Snorlax as well. Of course, yeah, we don't have a chance of farming them down. Let's take a look at the next game. We're going to have here the Gliscor against us in the lead. This is, for example, one of those neutral scenarios where you want to stay in. You have, of course, very decent answers in the back there as well, but your main goal is to try to realign, and this is exactly what we're going to go for right now. We're going to see the Body Slam coming through here against the opponent. But let's take a look here. They're going to go for the Earthquake. A great shield by me here now, because now we're definitely going to be able to realign, and I'm also going to be able to get to the next move before they can go for their own Earthquake here. They're going to let this move go through, and we're going to get out the Virizion. There is also a core that's going to like be broken here by a Virizion of our Snorlax as well as the Swampert, but here we just get with 1 HP left, 2 on body slam, which is gonna put them most likely into range for even the media measure of the Clefable after a few more fast moves here, which is going to be fairly decent for us, but now it really depends on what they're going to have in the back. Leaf Blade coming through, we're going to be able to go ahead and go for the media mesh right now. Do they shield this move up? We will find out shortly. They do actually shield up, which is really nice for us, because it basically takes this energy, then the Moonblast, and now they're clearly in range for 1 media mesh, and we're gonna take advantage of that. Try to go for 1 here right now. And they're going to shield again. But what we're going to do here right now is a little bit different. We're going to let this move go through. They're going to go ahead, go for the Leaf Blade. And I can go ahead and go into my Swampert. And I'm just going to try to get the most energy advantage here. But the opponent going to swap out into the Regirock. I can go for the Earthquake in time. And let's say goodbye to the Regirock. Boom! Earthquake going to one-shot them. And 1 more Hydro Cannon will be enough to knock out the opponent here right now. As you can see here, the Virizion is going to go down. And so we were able to win this game. Actually, interestingly enough, here the Clefable is able to break both the Regirock as well as the Virizion, because they have a fighting type and a rock type Pokemon, which are getting hit both by Moonblast as well as the Media Mesh. So here we're going to have a Swampert, which is going to swap out into the Pidgeot. I'm mostly sure I went for my chart move here first. Again, Pidgeot is really difficult for this team to deal with. Here they're going to go first for, of course, the debuffing move, which does make a lot of sense. And now it's basically calling the bait. Let's take a look at this one. We're going to get the Moonblast off. If we would be able to shield up the correct move here, we would be fine. But I thought like they most likely going to debuff me again, but they don't. And if I shield there, I would have been able to most likely realign already. But like this, we're going to go back into our Snorlax, go for 1 charge move here, go for 1 body slam to knock out the opponent's Pidgeot, and hope that they have something weak against Swampert in the back. Turns out they have a Mandibuzz. And at this point of time, there's no lot that I can do here really. I can try to catch a move here and try to get some extra energy. And with the extra energy, the Swampert vs Swampert matchup is definitely way better. But we will be able to go for 1 charge move here. And my only play right now is to hope that I can farm them down in the 2-shield scenario just with the mud shots. And try to get out of here with a little bit of energy. I'm not sure how much energy these still have left here, but we're going to be able to go for another charge move here. Hydro Cannon gonna get the shield from the opponent. We can shield up as well. I know it's coming down to if I can farm them down or not. I cannot. I try to go into my Snorlax here to catch the move, and of course, yeah, now I'm wasting all the energy on my Snorlax. I get some energy on my Swampert, but this is basically a game, and I'm going to forfeit again. So far, not so good, but I think like most games that I'm going to be able to win are still coming, because it definitely didn't went that bad. But of course, all the games that I put in here are kind of randomized, so I don't know in which order they come. As you're going to see here now, the Snorlax against the Tapu Fini matchup. Again, one of those matchups where you kind of want to stay in here and just try to realign later. We were able to shield up the correct move, and in comes now a Gliscor where we can go ahead and go for the Hydro Cannon. They're kind of forced to shield this move up here as well, as the Hydro Cannon would have definitely knocked them out here. But we're gonna use our own shield and try to get the Earthquake on us. And yes, they're going to go for the Earthquake. Very nice for us. We're going to be able to go for another charge move, but they're gonna go for the Night Stage first, which is really nice for me. Because like this, they are not able to go for another Earthquake in time, and they don't really threaten the knockout here, while I'm going to be able to knock them out. But in comes now the Trevenant, and Trevenant is going to be an interesting Pokemon to deal with here, because you're going to still do a lot of damage actually with my Swampert here. Swampert will be able to go for 2 Hydro Cannons, gonna get the shield even from the opponent, and hopefully we're gonna put them into range where our Clefable going to be able to sweep endgame. Here, we're going to still have our Snorlax, which can take 1 Seed Bomb, and the opponent going to have to endure this incoming Body Slam, as he's going to be able to go for another one, but the Body Slam gonna get caught onto the Tapu Fini. We're gonna stay in here for a little bit and try to get them low, but now we're gonna try to farm them all the way down with our Clefable. Maybe not the right call there, maybe I should have stayed in for a little bit longer, but the Surf is not gonna do too much damage, but I'm still forced to throw here because I feel like they would have got another Surf in time. Like this, I'm going to force my opponent to go for a Shadow Ball, and I have to hope that they can farm them down afterwards. And this is all that I really want, but sadly they don't knock me out here right away, they get a ton of energy. But Snorlax still going to be able to win us this game, and we're going to move on to the next one. Let's take a look at the next game. We're going to have here Snorlax versus Steelix. Pretty neutral matchup, but the opponent going to swap out into the Virizion, which is going to be amazing for me. But I predict that they're going to have another fighting type Pokemon in the back here, because Steelix double fighting does make a lot of sense, as well as baiting out something like Clefable here is most likely in their main interest. But they're going to actually be able to go for 2 charge moves anyway, because I can survive 1 Moonblast, which I didn't know before. And like this, I'm most likely going to just stay in here, go for 1 Moonblast just to get rid of a little bit of the time here. but it's going to be a little bit of a tough one as well. I kind of want to leave this matchup with one move stored, I feel like, at least. As we're going to get hit by the Psychic Fangs, I'm going to farm up 2 on Moonblast. Now I can swap out into the Snorlax. Because I expect them to have another Fighting type in the back, I'm going to let this move go through. And they're going to have the Buzzwole in the back. And this is one of the worst possible Fighting type Pokemon that I could face here, because this Pokemon is hitting extremely hard, charges pretty fast as well, and it's gonna get a full farm down here against the Snorlax. At least I was able to get one shield, but not the second one here. But I will be able to go ahead and go into my Swampert, take the lunges here, which can debuff my attack. But no, they're actually running Power Punch, which I didn't expect. And they're going to bait me twice here, and I'm forced to shield it up because I think a Superpower would have just completely destroyed me. So I'm going to be able to go for another charge move here with the Hydro Cannon, and I'm going to snipe them here with my Clefable, going for one Meteor Mash, and now we should be fine here, hopefully, as they still have the Steelix in the back. I have to hit one Earthquake though. Can I get to the Earthquake in time is the question here. One Hydro Cannon will not be enough, and I'm going to be able to Steam P-tie with the opponent. If this was an Earthquake from the opponent as well, this would have most likely knocked me out as well, but here we were able to outspeed them, and we will be able to win this game. Yes, we're going to see the next opponent again, another fairly neutral lead. While I usually like to use ABB lines, is like the lines where you kind of want to stay in the lead. So you're going to see now the Body Slam doing a ton of damage, but no, it's a ton of damage against a Greedent. I didn't see the opponent swapping out here initially, but this is actually okay for me. I can take some moves on my Snorlax. I'm just going to build up to some Body Slams here, and I can go back into my Clefable, which will now avoid the opponent's Swampert, which might be fairly decent for me. Not Swampert, Charizard there. Charizard, because Charizard would be able to completely wall me, as well as would having access to the move Blast Burn, which just completely destroy me here. So at least we're gonna get rid of that one, but now we're gonna get kinda hardwalled by this incoming Registeel. But this also kinda tells me that the opponent completely gets wrecked by a single Swampert, which might be interesting as well to know, because maybe Swampert going to be able to win me this game here then late game, as we're gonna put them closer and closer to even a Hydro Cannon range, which is really nice. Is the opponent going to undercharge here, allowing me to swap out, and there's no risk in swapping out here, because I know already all Pokemon are kind of weak to my Swampert, as the opponent going to go ahead and stay in here for a little bit. I can go for one Hydro Cannon as well, which is going to get them pretty low, but they're going to swap out now into the Greedent. I'm forced to go for the Hydro Cannon spam here to be fair, but we will be able to get there eventually here. I'm going to be able to knock out the opponent's Greedent as well, as I still have a ton of energy on my Snorlax stored. And we're going to try to take advantage of that energy, but not before we're going to be able to catch a move onto our Clefable here, which is insanely important, as this Blast Burn going to do a ton of damage, usually against me, but not like this. I have a ton of energy stored on both of my Pokemon right now, and it's looking really, really decent for me, right? I call the Dragon Claw here, I will be able to go for the Body Slam spam, and unless there's some weird mechanics going on here, I'm most likely going to be able to outspeed the opponent later on with the Swampert as well, and I should be fine here. The opponent has now 5 fast moves in, I should be okay here, and we see some lag, which is not really that visible with the double speed up, but if you would like pause it for a little bit, this lag cost me the game because I didn't really see anything that's coming in. The game was insanely clunky, and yeah, it's always kind of sad to see that it doesn't really show it as bad if you have double speed, of course, especially because double speed also gives it more frames because of the way videos are edited or whatever. Like you see more frames than if it's in double speed. So yeah, that's kind of sad, of course, but yeah, this game kind of got lost by me having the frame drops. If I just went ahead and were able to go for my charge move immediately, I would have been fine, but it was not meant to be. So, here, next opponent, we're going to have a Swampert in the lead. Again, the same stuff again here. You kind of want to align your Pokemon late game with your Snorlax here. Snorlax is going to, again, go for some shields against the opponent. You're going to be a Hydro Cannon coming through, and we're going to be able to farm them all the way down. Like this, we are one shield down, but we're going to be able to align ourselves, and this is going to be super important, as you see in the next Pokemon coming in. Cresselia is one of the hardest answers for Swampert because of the move Grass Knot. And like this, we can definitely avoid for the entire match Cresselia against Swampert, which is really important for me. As you're going to see now, they're going to still have to go for one charge move against my Snorlax, and I can go into my Clefable, they go into their Galarian Stunfisk. And this is basically how the game is supposed to work with this team. You try to hard counter the opponent with your backline, you try to keep the lead there with your Snorlax there, and you try to win like that. But here we're going to see now the opponent going for an Earthquake against us. Going to do some pretty decent damage, but we can just go for the Hydro Cannon spam here, which is going to do a ton of damage, but here gets actually the shield from the opponent. I don't think a Rock Slide does knock me out here. Let's take a look at this. It's not enough, but they can go ahead and go for another one now. Doesn't really matter because I can go for one Media Mesh, knock out the opponent's Galarian Stunfisk, and like this is going to be a very good game here as its opponent's Cresselia only really has a chance there if they're going to get the debuff onto my attack, then they can survive a move. Of course, 10% chance to get the debuff, thanks for that. Definitely not ideal for us, but we can still go for the Moonblast and it does not knock them out. And they can still go for a move, and if they have basically 2 moves stored already, it is done for, but luckily we're still going to be able to go for a Media Mesh, win this game. That's also going to be it for today's video. If you haven't seen the video earlier, I already showcased a different Legend run where actually the player sent me the footage from his Legend run. So check this video out, it's on the screen right now, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye bye.